Whoops. Okay, I forgot I was doing this. Alright, yeah, let's start, shall we? Hello, YouTube. You're with the Emerald Bolt, EB, if you will. And this week I'm going to be doing a two-parter, so the second part will be next week. Anywho, roll intro.
I used to wonder what friendship could be until you all shared its magic with me.
And welcome back. Now, the first part of this segment is going to be on the EUP. Well, the Royal Guards, I guess, is the more commonly used. So, anywho, so if I say EUP, I still mean Royal Guard, just for future reference for you out there, dear listeners. Now, we can see from the show that the Royal Guard don't get a lot of good publicity. The episodes that they have been shown off, they've either been rather weak, captured, stupid, plain just moronic in certain cases. But this isn't the EUP's fault. I don't believe it is. We've got to remember that this television program that we are watching is trained towards an audience of young girls, and I don't think girls are particularly interested in watching big burly stallions beat the crap out of whoever we want them to beat the crap out of, because we need to let the main protagonists, the main six and the CMC and whoever else do their jobs. We need to give them the limelight. So the Royal Guard get nothing more than some, crappy airtime. But I'd like to consider the Royal Guard something, as you will, as Greek actors. Now, a Greek drama, from what I believe, is something where all the action or the drama happens off stage, so the audience can't see. So the audience has to make it up, think what may have occurred without their viewing or knowledge. This is where the EUP fit in fine. I mean, it's easy for us to say that the EUP are about as useful as a glass cannon without any ammunition, but the simplest fact is that they are doing a job. They're doing probably a great job. You don't see any criminals or crime in Equestria. You don't see any hardship or pain. The two invasions, kinda. I mean, if you count the Crystal Empire as a technical invasion because of King Doucheface Shadow Lord, I don't know, maybe. But the EUP has been keeping Equestria safe for the last 1,000 years. I very much doubt that Celestia by herself was able to do so. I mean, that's why she created the EUP in the first place. I mean, they've been protecting Equestria's borders since Equestria was formed, more than 1,000 years ago. Well, so she would have us believe. We never know. There could be conspiracy theories about that too. But the EUP, we have to imagine that they're doing their job with us not seeing it. I mean, we're probably never going to see the EUP ever do anything, other than stand around in shining armor and salute and do other various minor activities. Because let's face it, we don't even have a named guard in the entire franchise, with the exception of He Who Shall Not Be Named, because everyone hates his guts. And, as simple as that. I mean, my OC myself, I'm part of the Royal Guard, but hell, I'm off stage. I don't get seen in the show. That's how I like to consider my OC. Just as the rest of the Royal Guard don't get the tribute or the praise that honestly they should get. It is a shame. And I've seen other analysts and people, completely, blame the Royal Guard for being completely useless and pointless and hopeless, and some of them have come up with reasons why this might be the case, but I like to think that it's literally because this is a show for young girls. We won't see much particularly violent action from the males. I mean, have you seen any of the male characters fight? With the exception of the king, but even then he didn't really fight. He just menacingly laughed and appeared out of the shadows once or twice. I mean, all of the main fighting has been basically done by women, females, I guess. It's because it's a female show. I mean, don't say that I'm going overboard or anything with this, but the main protagonists are heroines, not heroes. I mean, the main six are girls, the CMC are girls, all the leaders of the Equestria are women. Well, with the exception of Shining Armor, I guess. But I mean, what is he? He doesn't do much either. I mean, when he gets his limelight, he's been pretty bloody useless too. It's not his fault, but it's probably because he fits into the Royal Guard role, so he's not allowed to do much. At least that's my thinking on it anyway. But I would like to think that the EUP or the Royal Guard are doing their job every day in keeping Equestria safe, protecting us so that we can have our small shenanigans of friendship that we've been, going on about. And I guess the main thing I'm going to be talking about next week, apart from the continuation for some of the EUP, is the Changeling Invasion from Season 2. Oh, I just said that twice. Never mind. Anyway, and we do see one scene where the Royal Guard are, well, there's two Royal Guards and they're tied up by the Changelings, but we have to think that the huge military presence within Canterlot, we barely saw any of the EUP, and that's because we were focusing on the main six and defeating the evil Changeling Queen. But we have to imagine that the EUP did not just stand there and look pretty, but fought back and probably captured most of the city back from the Changelings. Because we've noticed that within that small segment, the Changelings are particularly weak. I mean, the main six were beating the crap out of Changelings, and let's face it, some of the main six are not fighters. I mean, Rarity is not a fighter, Fluttershy is not a fighter, and Pinkie, well, I don't think Pinkie's a fighter, but that pony is something else altogether. But you see what I mean. And if non-fighters like Rarity and Fluttershy are beating the crap out of Changelings, what the heck do you think the Royal Guard would have been doing to the Changeling invasion? It would have been teaching them their manners and lessons in combat, and would have been teaching them very much the ways of getting the crap beaten out of them. But obviously, we see this off-screen. We see some guards who got captured because maybe there were too many Changelings. But that scene there, well, there's not much we can do to counter it. I mean, it probably is there to demonstrate that the Changeling invasion is massive and that even the guard are having some difficulty. I have no doubt that they probably were taken somewhat by surprise. I mean, everyone was taken by surprise when, fake Cadance turned into the queen and blah 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 and stunned every pony in the bloody, what was it, church? Courtroom? Courtroom. Of course it was a courtroom. What the hell am I talking about? No, in the ceremony area, I guess, in the castle. But we have to think that, well, I like to give the benefit of the doubt that the EUP probably repulsed the attack quite well, and obviously some of the guards got captured. I mean, can't question that because it was in the episode. But when you think about the EUP in future, don't give them the shtick that you think they deserve, because they probably don't deserve it. It's not their fault the writers have to write for a specific demographic, and it's not their fault even if they were given a more choice to make the guard look more impressive or give them a couple of fight scenes, that they probably wouldn't, because it wouldn't fit into the way the show is at the moment. I mean, you would have to change the show somewhat from what it currently is in order to involve guards fighting. It's just something we ain't gonna see, and it's not the guard's fault, and yet people are blaming the guard. Don't blame the Royal Guard. They're not useless. They're not a glass cannon without ammo. They're not these bloody show ponies that are there just to look good. They're not an intimidation factor. I truly believe that they're there as a real military and policing presence, doing their job day in and day out. We just don't get to see it. It's a Greek drama where all of the drama happens off stage, and you just need to let your imagination run wild. I mean, hell, that's partially why we love this series, because of how great we can make stuff up within it. Have we seen so many parodies of this series? It's not funny. And all these parodies had to be dreamt up. Well, we can simply dream up a couple of parodies where the guards aren't, well, visually appearing to be completely useless and as thick as pig swell. And that's my thoughts on the EUP today, Royal Guard, in other words. And I hope that this might have brought them a bit better into the limelight of those who are listening. And until next time, you've been with the Emerald Bolt, and I look forward to talking to you about part 2 of the Canterlot invasion of the Changelings next week. Oh, yes, and please remember to subscribe, like, and watch all of these things if you do like them. And until next week, see ya.